Hello everyone, this is Power, Chief Foreign Affairs Officer for Exodus. As I'm sure many of you are already aware, Exodus recently declared war against the Colonial Federation. Since this initial declaration of war and our terms of peace are outlined, the community is engaged in intense debate over the decisions made by Exodus High Command and a number of other clans, specifically related to the leaked chat logs from the Colonial Federation. Exodus has, for nearly a year now, been one of the premier clans in the modern community and played a critical part in many conflicts during that period. Given our fairly unique position in the community, Exodus High Command has placed a significant focus on diplomatic precedent, the idea that other clans use Exodus as a reference point when determining reasonable diplomatic behavior and decision-making. Exodus High Command, and in particular myself, are keenly aware of just how significant of a role this is, and how it affects the broader community. Unfortunately, mistakes and misjudgments can and will be made. In particular, a number of misjudgments have been made during our conflict with the Colonial Federation. Part of our obligation as Exodus High Command, however, is to acknowledge and accept when mistakes and misjudgments are made, so as to clear the public record, establish good and sound precedent for the community, and most importantly, to preserve the community's confidence in Exodus. Our commitment to publicly acknowledging such failures is something we take pride in. Now, to be clear, Exodus High Command does not believe our concerns with the Colonial Federation were unfounded. A number of individuals within the Colonial Federation's leadership, either explicitly or implicitly through private conversations or externally with conversations with Exodus personnel, say they're interested in degrading and defaming Exodus. Chancellor 172, Chancellor of the Colonial Federation himself, personally stated that he intended to declare war against Exodus during the Commonwealth as means of becoming the premier community power, and heavily implied the same idea through other privileged conversations between Exodus and the Colonial Federation. What positive relationship had existed between Exodus and the Colonial Federation was based upon the relationship between Exodus High Command and the Chancellor. Once Exodus became aware that the power in the Colonial Federation was shifting from the Chancellor to significantly more hostile senior colonies, and discussions of impeachment occurred, our concerns increased. Additionally, the Colonial Federation's disinterest in making genuine apologies, but rather simply attempting to appease Exodus in order to avoid weakening their stance, was hugely problematic. It is this combination of factors, along with a few others, the historically hostile views and intentions of the Colonial Federation leadership towards Exodus, the hostile factions within the Colonial Federation gaining power, the potential removal or reduction of the historically favorable Chancellor, the disinterested, dismissive, and insincere nature of apologies towards Exodus, and defaming particular parts of Exodus' public image, which convinced Exodus High Command that action had to be taken to ensure the reduction of hostilities long term. Exodus High Command determined, and still believes, that the shift in the Colonial Federation could not have been ignored, that some significant reassurance would have been needed to ensure Exodus' long-term relationship with the Colonial Federation. With that in mind, Exodus High Command believes, after reevaluating and analyzing steps taken during this war, that we made significant diplomatic failures. Given my role as CFAO, a number of these failures relate specifically to my actions during this war. First, I failed to effectively convey the exact nature of the concerns of Exodus to the Colonial Federation's Chancellor during our preliminary discussions following the leaks. This lack of a clear and accurate representation of our concerns muddled Exodus' position long term and caused confusion both within the Colonial Federation and the community as a whole. It would have been much more beneficial to delay the initial contact with the Colonial Federation until a more thorough analysis of the situation could have been conducted, so as to determine the full scope of our concerns and make sure it was laid forth before beginning discussions. Secondly, our initial diplomatic offer was far too heavy-handed. Asking for full diplomatic sovereignty over the Colonial Federation was an inappropriate and disproportional response to the actions of the Colonial Federation. This initial offer was severe enough to invoke an effective diplomatic shutdown within the Colonial Federation, and may have wrongly framed our later declaration of war as a war of aggression. Our successive offers, while less severe, may have also been inappropriate. Third, our withdrawal from PAC and the effective termination of a non-aggression pact was unreasonable. The intention behind such agreements is to avoid such hard and quick escalations in situations exactly like the one that occurred here. We determined that, while no significant technical violation of the agreement occurred, we clearly violated the spirit of this agreement. It's this combination of factors, in combination with the Colonial Federation's reactions, which resulted in a war that could have been avoided. As I stated previously, Exodus is concerned about precedent. We are concerned that, if left unaddressed, the community may interpret our actions during this war as acceptable behavior. So I will be explicit. Exodus High Command believes that, in its totality, the diplomatic conduct of Exodus during this war was unacceptable. While our concerns were real and valid, how they were acted upon was problematic. This is not a reasonable precedent to set for the community as a whole, and is why we've elected to produce this video. It is important to note, however, that we believe the actions of the Colonial Federation's Chancellor and diplomatic team were also problematic and significantly aggravated the situation. The apologies issued were demonstrably insincere and were clear attempts at selfish appeasement. They failed to provide any clear reassurance to Exodus regarding the future of our clan's relations. More importantly, they almost entirely failed to discuss any meaningful peace negotiations, never making any real counteroffers to the agreements Exodus proposed. This made finding a peace agreement nearly impossible and effectively ensured the outbreak of war. In closing, this war between the Colonial Federation and Exodus was a result of clear diplomatic failures from both clans. Exodus prides itself in our ability to acknowledge such failures as they occur. In realizing that a number of severe diplomatic failures on our behalf may have contributed to the sparking of this conflict, we questioned its legitimacy moving forward. Furthermore, over the last 5 days since war has been declared, the Colonial Federation has deteriorated significantly and is effectively stalling the war against Exodus. Given their inability or disinterest in continuing the war, Exodus would have to grossly misallocate time and resources to this war to obtain any reasonable further results. As such, Exodus will be terminating all war efforts against the Colonial Federation effective immediately. It has come to our knowledge that the Colonial Federation is seeking to terminate itself and become yet another sub-community. While we are saddened by and discourage this course of action, we acknowledge that the Colonial Federation Senate can make whatever decisions they feel best represent the interests of their members. Should they reverse this course of action and elect to stay in this community, we shall look forward to rebuilding good faith and trust within both clans. That is all for this video. On behalf of Exodus High Command and Exodus as a whole, I would like to thank you for watching this video. This is Power, Chief Foreign Affairs Officer of Exodus, out.